Hello, I'm State Senator Jason Rapert, and I wanted to come and just take a few moments to address a couple of things that are going on here in the country right now. Namely, tonight, I wanted to give you my comments on what has happened today with President Barack Obama. Obviously, President Obama being frustrated with the fact that the American people does not support violating our Second Amendment rights. Therefore, our representatives in the U.S. Congress and in the U.S. Senate have not taken action to further infringe our Second Amendment rights. That has frustrated President Obama. And unfortunately today, our president stood before the American people and cameras, and he took a strike at our fundamental Second Amendment rights. But even worse, in my opinion, what he has done is he has taken a direct hit at the United States Constitution itself. In the United States Constitution, we have the concept, which we all know and learn in school, in civics, in government classes, which is the separation of powers. In our country, we have an executive branch, we have a legislative branch, and we have a judicial branch. And what we have seen happen today, that every single American man and woman needs to take note of and pay attention to, is that our president, under the guise of an executive order, has done the very thing that Congress would not authorize him to do. This is a violation. We live in a republic. This great American republic, which was forged by our forefathers, which blood, sweat, and tears, and even their lives were given to forge this republic. Our nation is three separate but co-equal branches that are to give checks and balances upon each other. And President Obama today has once again violated the sacred trust and the integrity of the presidency in this nation by acting as a dictator and by acting more as a king than he is as a president. As much as I am upset with the fact that he has used this opportunity to further encroach on a fundamental right guaranteed to us in the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, which is part of the Bill of Rights, that our founding fathers would not approve the Constitution without a Bill of Rights included. That Bill of Rights guarantees us fundamental rights as American citizens. In fact, the Second Amendment actually is so critical to this nation, it allows us to ensure that all of our other rights are kept in place. The reason we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion and the freedom to gather and protest and seek redress from government is the fact that we have a Second Amendment which guarantees us the right to keep and to bear arms. And our forefathers, our founding fathers, knew that that Second Amendment was critical because they had endured a monarch who tried to disarm them. In fact, every single dictator, communist dictator, or any person that has taken on the powers of a dictator, they seek first to disarm the people. Very interesting today, when you look at the comments that Barack Obama had, you'll notice that apparently he committed a major lie. It was not just an error. He lied about the fact saying that violent criminals can buy online without any background check. The information that I have seen that's been reported is that you still have to buy through someone that owns a federal firearms license. I want to issue a plea to every single state legislator in this nation. I urge all 50 states to pass resolutions and to send those resolutions to the President and to Congress and the United States Senate, objecting to the abuse of the powers of the presidency as it relates to this action by Barack Obama. I urge each of your legislatures, many of you are just going into session, I urge you to pass resolutions that actually reject this overreach of presidential power once again, which threatens the integrity of the separation of powers in our nation, as well as the rights of every single individual in all 50 of the states of the United States of America. I also urge my colleagues in the state houses and the state senates to rise up and support Article 5. Article 5 Constitutional Convention is our ability to rein in an out-of-control federal government. Whether it be a balanced budget amendment, whether it be securing our Second Amendment rights, whether it be standing up for the lives of millions and millions of little babies that have been slaughtered in abortion in this nation, whether it be marriage, traditional marriage between a man and a woman, the violations of the rights and the history and traditions of the American people have been so trampled during the Obama administration. I urge state legislators to use our power under Article 5. We need just 34 state legislatures to pass Article 5 resolutions on specific amendments for us to take action. When we have 34 states that will take action, it only takes 38 states to ratify an amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Our forefathers put Article 5 in place for just such a time as this. They knew there might be a time when tyrants would gain position in our country, and they left in there Article 5, giving the state legislatures, made up of individual legislators like myself, to be able to rise up against this in our nation. Now is the time for good men and good women to rise up and make your voices heard around this country. President Barack Hussein Obama has violated the United States Constitution so horribly, and he has done so today again arrogantly as it relates to the Second Amendment, that he simply must be reined in. He is out of control. I believe that we've reached a very critical time in the nation. I believe that it is time that we as Americans begin to individually think about who we are, what we believe in, and what kind of America we want to leave for our children and our grandchildren. There are many, many things that I could mention tonight that are actually too numerous to go through one by one. But there are a few things that concern me greatly. Number one, why would President Barack Obama decide at this stage, when we have violence being inflicted in our communities by radical Islamic terrorists, why would he choose now to try to further infringe upon Second Amendment rights in this country? Why would he choose now when we know that he is bringing in refugees that should not be allowed into our nation right now? I just read today in the nation of Germany, during New Year's Eve, mobs of Middle Eastern and Arab men were groping women in the streets of Cologne, Germany, and one of them actually was raped. Germany opened their borders up and took in over 1 million refugees from the same area that Barack Hussein Obama wants to take in refugees now. It is simply too dangerous, President Obama, for you to be bringing people into this nation knowing full well that they cannot be vetted and their background is unknown. And it's very interesting when we see pictures that the vast majority of these refugees that you say should be brought into our country are younger males from that area. I cannot understand why, Mr. President, that you want to put our people at risk at a time like this. I find it very troubling as well that the President, Barack Obama, has taken such pains and such dramatic steps, knowingly violating the process in the nation. Bills, laws that we live by in this nation are to be introduced into Congress. They are to be passed by both the House and the Senate and sent to the President of the United States for his signature. If he does not want them to become law, he vetoes them. They have the ability to override that veto. The representatives and the senators in Washington, D.C. are our representatives. That is the voice of the people in this nation. But you falsely claim that you alone, Mr. President, are the voice of the people in this nation. No, sir, you are not the voice of all of the people in this nation. That is our legislative leaders. That's their purview. That's what they do. And you have usurped that. I find it interesting that you cry today as you introduce gun control, but yet you do not cry for the over now nearly 70 million little innocent babies that have been slaughtered in this nation by abortion. But yet, Mr. President, you're the first president that has taken the side of Planned Parenthood and actually stood up for them when they have taken the lives of innocent little babies. I think, sir, that you're blinded. There is a veil over your eyes that somehow you can't see. Some people will watch this video and they'll say, boy, Senator Jason Rapert really dislikes President Obama. No, I actually feel very sorry for President Barack Obama because he does not understand the heart and soul of America. How could he allow for the killing of innocent little babies and turn out terrorists from the Gitmo prison in Cuba and then squeeze the American people and try to take our rights away as he seemingly opens up this nation to people that don't care about us and don't like us? Why would Barack Obama continue to push for spending that is going to break this nation if he truly cared about this nation? If he loved this nation so much, why would he not secure our borders? Why would he not make sure that terrorists cannot come in our southern border? Why would he not secure this nation and protect us against violent extremists? No, he rather wants to take gun rights away from the American people. He wants to force the people that make America run, the taxpayers of this nation. He wants to force us to give away money taken out of our pockets to put it into the pockets of people that did not earn it, that did not work for it. He has taken over almost the entire healthcare industry. He made inroads to take over the auto industry just a few years ago when there was a government takeover of GM. He has taken the Bureau of Land Management, and he's going in and taking back private land from people in Texas and all over the country that they've managed in their families for decades and decades. And he's saying that that land is not theirs, that the Bureau of Land Management owns that ground. I wonder what's going on with you, Mr. President. I feel sorry for you because you do not truly know and understand the people of this nation. I don't know if it's because you were raised in your formative years in a foreign country. I don't know if it's because of the social liberal policies that you've adopted. I don't know if it's because I don't know what is the root of this, President Obama, but it's obviously you don't understand us, and in many regards, people don't think that you care that much about the American people. Why would you do the things that you do if you truly cared for the American people? This is not just political, Mr. President. This is fundamental to the future of the United States of America. Many people are never going to comply with what you do and force through edict as an executive order. Many people will not comply with it. And when what you do violates the United States Constitution, it becomes the duty of people to resist unjust laws. And so, Mr. President, I implore you to stop what you're doing. You are pushing the American people too far. We see this now in Oregon, where you have people that have now gone into a national wildlife refuge because your government and your policies have literally pushed the American people too far, Mr. President. You need to stop. You need to stop what you're doing and unwind this situation before you push us past the point of no return. There are 7,383 state legislators in this nation, Mr. President. And I am asking all 7,383 great men and women that serve in state legislatures just like myself, I'm asking them to stand up under the authority of the 10th Amendment and under the authority of Article 5 and do for this nation what you and the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress will not do. We need to restore the true balance of power in this nation, federalism. The power in this nation belongs to the people. We're a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people. And in the 10th Amendment, it says all powers that we have not specifically given to you and the federal government belong to the states and to the people. You only have the power that we give you. And we gave you specific powers in the United States Constitution and in the amendments that have come since then. And we have the power as the people to take some of those powers away from you. And I believe it is time that 34 states utilize Article 5 to the United States Constitution to recommend specific amendments to rein in an out-of-control federal government. And then we only need 38, sir, to actually make that happen. You cannot stop us. Congress cannot stop us. Not even a governor can stop us because the Constitution specifically empowers state legislatures. It's right there in the black and white print in the United States Constitution. So I'm urging all of my colleagues to pull out the Constitution tonight and tomorrow. Read Article 5 of the Constitution and see where the state legislatures can rise up and try to set the record straight in this country. 7,383 state legislators in this nation have the ability to rise up and do what our congressmen and our senators and our president are not doing. And our Congress is not stopping President Barack Obama. They should be. Our judiciary is not even stopping President Barack Obama, and they should be. I believe in the United States Constitution. I love the United States Constitution and our Bill of Rights, and I love this nation with more than anything in my heart and my soul. And we know that this nation was founded upon Judeo-Christian values. We know that in the United States Supreme Court, Moses is emblazoned on the wall above the head of the Chief Justice. We know that as you walk in the Supreme Court to the United States of America, that the 10 Commandments are there on the 2 front doors. As you open the door into the chamber, those doors have that. We know on the outside of the United States Supreme Court that there, around that court, is penetrated into the wall, etched into the wall, is the 10 Commandments. We know that in the House of Representatives, as all of those lawgivers' faces are emblazoned around the top of the United States House of Representatives, that it is Moses that faces us. We know that on the top of the Washington Monument is the term Laus Deo. We know that that was put there for a purpose, because we know that they wanted everyone to understand that God truly watches over everything in this nation. Yes, Mr. President, we are one nation under God. I believe that when George Washington said that you cannot rightly govern without God and the Bible, I believe he was correct. Some people say he didn't say that, but many people say that he does. I believe also that our presidents who have gone on and said many things about this country, they called on divine providence in the Declaration of Independence. I know and I believe that that is what it's going to take to set the record straight and save this nation in the future. Mr. President, I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed that you would take the arrogance within you and you would push forward with a policy, Mr. President, that is against the will of the American people and which shreds the United States Constitution. My friends in America, I ask you to vote in this election. There are 80 million evangelical Christians in this nation. In the last presidential election, they only said that 40 million of you were registered to vote. I am asking you right now to go register to vote and to go to the polls. Of the 40 million registered evangelical Christians in this country, I'm told that only 20 million of you actually went to the polls and voted. You've got to register and you have to vote. My friends, the Christian people, the good people of this nation, in one single election cycle can turn this nation completely around. All we need is for you to register, to bind together. Vote your values. Don't vote party. Vote your values. And it's very obvious when the Democrat Party almost voted to take God out of their platform at their last presidential convention. I believe it's very clear. Right now, the Republican Party is the only party that's opening up and inviting the people of God, Christian people, to come in. Because if you are going to say that you represent God and you have reverence for Him, you will not war against the Bible and Scripture. The Democrat Party has come against traditional marriage. They have opened up and embraced that which the Bible calls evil, and they call it good. The Democrat Party has been supportive of slaughtering literally millions, tens of millions of innocent little babies around this country. That's not of God. The Bible says that you will not shed innocent blood. He said in Jeremiah that He knew him before he was even formed in the womb of his mother. That tells me that God knows those little babies that are in the wombs that have been aborted in this nation. I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. It's a burden on me, and I intend personally not to stop until we see this nation restored to its proper order. We must protect and defend the United States Constitution, and I ask anyone that is given an order that conflicts with the United States Constitution to defend the Constitution and do not follow an order that violates it. And take up no arms against the people of this nation, against the law-abiding American citizens. Do not follow a dictator to doing a bad deed. Friends, I don't know what's going to happen in the next few months in this nation. Things have occurred in the last 8 years that I would have never expected to ever happen in this nation, and it's been done under the leadership of Barack Hussein Obama. Mr. President, you've hurt America. You've hurt this nation. You've hurt our country. You've divided our nation, and it's time you stop, and stop immediately. The people of this nation deserve a leader that respects the rules and the laws of this republic. And sir, you have not respected them at all, and you should stop. In my opinion, you should resign. That would be the best thing to do. But until such time, know that there are American men and women across this country, just like myself, that will never give in to what you're doing. We will never give in to the lawlessness that we see coming out of the presidency right now. We will never give in to those things that you do that violate the Constitution and the rule of law. You do things according to the rule of law, you have our respect. You do things that are lawless and outside of the rule of law and violate our constitutional rights, you do not have our support, and you do not have my respect, sir. So America, tonight as I end, for those of you that may get to see this, know that I am praying for the future of this nation. And know that I, as many other legislators, are coming together around concepts that we believe will save this country. I invite you to go out and look at www.appealtoheaven.org. That is appealtoheaven.org. Let us know that you will join with us as we stand up for the principles of our founding fathers and President George Washington, and also Judeo-Christian principles upon which this country was founded. God bless all of you, and God bless America. Thank you for your time.